Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Honorable members, last week we were reminded that in fact the meeting of the programming committee. Will you please mute? Somebody mute, please. Thank you. The meeting of the programming committee is supposed to take exactly 30 minutes. And I just want to say I'll try my best to do just that. We shouldn't go beyond 30 minutes. Honorable members, I have received one apology from Honorable Singh. Are there any other apologies you are aware of?
Sorry, Madam Speaker. My next meeting starts at 9:15, so I will be with you until then. Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Singh. Are there any other apologies, Honorable members?
Madam Speaker, yes, Madam Speaker. The Deputy Chief Whip, Lagude, House Chairperson Frolic, Advocate Swart of the ACTP, and yes, that's all. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Kaso. Honorable members, those are the apologies. We've noted them. When we look at the agenda, I hope everybody all stay on the screen. We can see there's the agenda on the screen. Honorable members, may I propose that somebody adopts the agenda?
Sheikh Imam.
Honorable Sheikh Imam. Thank you. Any additional matters?
No, we second the adoption of the agenda. Pemi Machutina, Chief Whip of the Majority Party.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Sheikh Imam, Honorable Singh. May we now consider the minutes of the 24th of February.
There is a hand, Madam Speaker, from Deputy Chief Whip of the Opposition.
Deputy Chief Whip.
Morning, Speaker. Thank you very much. Speaker, when I was going through the minutes, I realized that there was a suggestion that was made, which has been minuted, about the possibility of not having the programming committee happen weekly and only happen on the basis that there are new items on the program. I just do want to say, just so that it can be on the record, that I don't think that perhaps that is wise, considering the fact that this is one of the committees that are provided for in the rules, and I think it's important, regardless of...
You are out of order, Honorable Wafube. If you want to raise that matter, you can raise it under matters arising. We are now considering the minutes, not unless you are suggesting that is not reflected in the minutes.
No. It was a matter that arose from the minutes.
Exactly. Now we are still considering the minutes, and I will then ask somebody to move for adoption once that is concluded. Can you continue with the slides? Are we done? I'm assuming also that we should be quick because people have been provided with the report, the minutes. Thank you very much, honorable members. Can somebody now move for the adoption of the minutes?
I move for the adoption, ma'am.
Thank you very much, honorable members. I now see there are two hands Dr. Mulder, followed by Honorable Korenov.
That's me that moves for the adoption of the minutes, ma'am. Dr. Mulder, thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Will you lower your hand?
Thank you, Speaker.
Yes.
I second the adoption of the minutes.
Thank you very much. Minutes having been adopted and seconded, we now proceed to deal with matters arising from the minutes. Now, under matters arising, you see that there is a comprehensive report which will be presented by the Chief Whip of the Majority Party, which deals with suitable alternative venues for the National Assembly, which was presented yesterday to the Chief Whip's Forum. And I now recognize the Chief Whip of the Majority Party on the just to give us a feedback on that meeting.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to all honorable members on the platform. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, the Chief Whip's Forum met yesterday as agreed in our last NAPC that this is going to be our closed session where we will be getting the first preliminary report on alternate accommodation that might be used by Parliament. I want to confirm, Honourable Speaker, that indeed we had that meeting yesterday, and as Chief Whips we have agreed on the following, that we accepted the preliminary report. Yes. Am I? Have you lost me?
No, sir.
Can you hear the Chief Whip?
Yes, Speaker. Loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Continue then, Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I was saying we met yesterday. We received the report. And we accepted the report as a preliminary report, and we said let the Office of the Speaker and the management work on the report and expect a progress report on the 23rd of March at 10 o'clock in a physical meeting, because we are of the opinion that when matters are in this infancy stage, we must at all times meet physically so that we can be able to deal with all those matters. Not that there's anything that we're hiding from public, but we just want to come to public when we have managed to reach consensus and we have a clear plan. Amongst other things that was reported to us were 7 options that might be used that are looked at by the Office of the Speaker through the management: the City Hall, the City ICC, universities, community halls around Cape Town, Good Hope Theatre, the Dome, as well as the modular structure. We, as the Chief Whips Forum, we added 3 more, where we said, 1, let's try to maximize the use of space in the current Good Hope chamber. At the moment we have 70, and we said social distancing is about 2 meters. So let's try to close that social distancing, because all of us were putting masks. Let's maximize the space at the moment as part of the short-term arrangement, because we're already using that Good Hope chamber, our chamber. Then the second one, we said the sooner we get access to the building of Parliament, especially on the old National Assembly, because that old National Assembly can take more than 250 people. So whilst we don't know the extent of the damage that was caused by fire, but the preliminary report was saying it was not adversely affected by fire. So, but we know that we need a proper report from the engineers. How far can we go in terms of utilizing the old assembly chamber? The third one, we said, whilst there's mention of community halls, we have 3 community halls at our disposal in the parks: Laboria Park, Acacia Park, as well as Pelican Park. So if we could try to maximize the usage of those halls that are in our disposal, and they should be enabled, so that when the entire Parliament is supposed to sit, for instance, the NA, all 400 members can fit there, because we divide members to those 3 venues, and the 4th venue be the Good Hope Chamber. We said let management add those 3 more venues that we're talking about, so that we can be able to deal with the issue. We further agreed that in the next meeting, we must get a short-term, medium, and long. When it comes to the long term, there was a mention of moving Parliament, and we know what Section 46, Section 42, subsection 6 says about that, as well as Section 76. We said that is long term, that we are not ignoring, but let's come up with a clear plan, so that when we even discuss that long term, we must have it on our program. Then when it comes to costs, we said the report must also have clear cost analysis that says before COVID, we had so many offices. Before COVID, when we still had our structure intact. Then during COVID, this is how we worked, and what were the implications in terms of costs, as well as the work of Parliament. So we agreed, therefore, the Honourable Speaker, that let's keep a Good Hope Chamber at the moment, whilst we are still trying to engage on further alternate venues that could be used out of the 7 that were presented. And I don't want to get into detail for that. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Chief Whip. Honourable members, I will not encourage us to discuss this report, because Chief Whips discussed this matter yesterday, and as has been proposed, we will then bring this matter again. We will take it back to the Chief Whips. If there are any new developments, there are proposals which have been made by the honourable members who serve in the whippery of considering 3 halls which are located at the parks where members live. So once we have concluded that work, we will then come back and present those issues to you. So I do want us to proceed and look at the rest of the matters arising. Not unless you disagree with that, Honourable Ngabomzi, you had your hand up.
I'm not disagreeing. I just want to add 1 or 2 things that the Chief Whip might have forgotten, if I may. It's just the fast tracking of what's the other venue again? NCOP chamber, because it seems like there were minor things that still needed to be done there so that it can be considered as a venue, say when the NCOP is not sitting, or for an example is on outreach programs. The other second issue was an issue which is important, where we, Honourable Steve Swart and other leaders obviously raised the matter that Parliament, while obviously in the long term we can discuss the moving Parliament to another province, but we must bear in mind that it is a national heritage site, and in terms of the law, it has to be renovated. So that aspect is not avoidable, even as we consider those various options. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, I want to propose that we do not discuss this matter at all. And I do want to remind members that as we are presenting to you the issues of, like it was presented yesterday, of the alternative venues for the national sittings, that the issue of the long term of restructuring Parliament, of rebuilding Parliament, is not on the table for now, because we currently have people who are working on it. For as long as we have not received a report on the extent of the structural damage of the National Assembly, that matter should not be discussed until we receive that report. Then we start a process, because that process at the level of the management has already started. So can we just avoid it and just focus on what has been presented by the Chief Whip? That is, if there's a need, like Honourable Ngabayomzi has done, which is to add on issues which were left out by the Chief Whip. Honourable Mkalipi.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, thanks very much. We are not discussing the issue, but nevertheless, Speaker, I just want to remind you that the Chiefs Forum is not a decision-making body, Speaker. If there are things that we need to take it to this forum, indeed, Speaker, we must. So please, Speaker, avoid to suppress us. Nevertheless, Speaker, I'm not discussing this matter further, but I'm saying yesterday...
Of order, because we agreed here last week. You are out of order. Lower your hand. Honorable Mkalipi, remember that this matter was here. And we said, because of the nature of the issues, first, let's get the whipper, all whips of political parties to discuss the matter, engage on the matter before we bring it here, so that we do not use, I know this is a decision-making kind of forum, and the chiefs, but it's important because all chief whips do participate in that forum, and therefore it is easy to feed information to your political parties through that forum. So please, I will take it back there again to the Chief Whips Forum, because I know they will have all the time to engage on the matter. By the time we bring it here, we'll be saying, this is what the Chief Whips Forum is recommending, and can we look at it? For now, it's a longish and a clumsy and quite an intense engagement to deal with these issues. I know that the issue, people are in a hurry to also talk about long-term, whether they will move the seat of parliament or not. But for now, we are at a point where we are looking for alternative accommodation for the National Assembly to sit.
Speaker, I don't want to fight with you. I'm just saying that I was reminding you about the roles of Parliament in terms of this forum. I'm not opening the discussion, Speaker, and please don't fight with me, because here we must not fight. I just want to check, because I was not there in the Chiefs Forum. The Chief Whip of the ANC will know that we realized very late that the meeting is physical. As a result, we sent one person from the EFF to come and attend. All of us were not in Cape Town as whips who used to attend the meetings. So therefore, we send an ordinary member. I just want to check with the Chief Whip in terms of the discussions that happened yesterday, because she's giving us a report in terms of the short term and the long term. She's mentioning the halls that were also being engaged yesterday in terms of the engagement. I wanted to check if our member didn't suggest that we must add on top of those halls that the Chief Whip of the majority is mentioning. There is no hall at Kanyanga, there is no hall at Kukuletu, because those are the very critical halls that we can use in the meantime in a short space of time. The second issue, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of the committees that was also being engaged with in terms of meeting physically. I wanted to check with the Chief Whip. Did we also touch on that one? Because there is a need for other committees to meet physically, and I know there's a list that was circulating to members to consider the venues that can be used to meet in a form of a committee. I just wanted to add on or to check on those two things, Speaker. I don't know why are you saying I'm out of order.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Mkalipi. Honorable Mulder.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, colleagues. No, further matter arising deals with the Section 102 motion of no confidence. In the minutes, it was minuted last week that a date will be scheduled after consultation with the leader of government business. I just want to inquire if there's any movement in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ntlangwini.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I'm partly covered by the Honorable Kalipi, Speaker. Just to add, Speaker, there's nowhere in the rules that it says that the programming committee must be 30 minutes. So don't feel pressured, Speaker. Handle it the way you have normally handled it, giving us time to speak and iron out issues. There's nowhere in the rules. We were misled last week by a person to say that the rules committee, the programming committee must be 30 minutes. There's nowhere in the rules that it states it must be 30 minutes. So please, Speaker, continue the way you normally used to continue to give us democracy in this meeting to iron out issues. That's the only point that I want to add, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ntlangwini. Honorable Singh.
No, thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, and thank you to the Chief Whip. Good morning, colleagues, for the presentation, which he covered very, very well. Just to confirm from my side that adequate notice was given that the meeting was going to be physical. That's the first thing. We received even a reminder on Monday that it is going to be physical. It's unfortunate that certain members did not attend. But in my case, if I'm not available, my Deputy Chief Whip attends, and she is on the platform here. And I would expect her to report to me, but not to ask you what was said at the meeting and what was not said and what she said. And lastly, I think we appreciate that the Chief Whip's Forum is not a decision-making body, but it's a body that sifts information that it will bring to the programming committee and other relevant committees. Thank you very much.
Speaker, can I call an order?
Yes, point of order.
Yeah, Speaker, I think you must protect us here. When we come here honestly, reflecting here, it does not mean that other members must come after us and bash us. I said in this meeting, I realized very late that the meeting is physical, but I'm not blaming anyone because communication was issued. But I don't think it's correct for Honorable Singh to come and say we are blaming anyone. We are not blaming anyone. I wanted to get a clarity in terms of the discussion. Thank you, Speaker.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Kalipi. I see all the hands are down now. Thank you very much, Honorable members. Honorable members, indeed, the meeting, it was decided last week already that the meeting is physical. And I also missed the meeting, the physical meeting yesterday. And unfortunately, there was no way of having it in a hybrid forum. So I'm just saying, I'm also one of the culprits yesterday. I had a serious appointment to attend to. Now, there are matters which have been raised here, and there is a matter of the issue of fast-tracking the NCOP venue. Honorable members, I should say this, I must say I'm rather also very frustrated because by the team which is doing the assessment, it's taking very long. I don't know how far they are. I'm not even sure now if the report that was whether it's accurate or not, that the NCOP and some of the offices are not necessarily affected, or even the National Assembly itself, because all of this you hear that this is the position, there's space for us to work in, that the chairperson of the NCOP, for instance, can go back, but actually there is nothing which is on paper. So I will get from Public Works what the exact status is, because indeed they are taking long in their assessment, because at least the one side should be completely done in terms of assessment, so that we know whether we can move in back in there or not. I've noted the issue of additional venues here, so that when the report is presented next week, again to the Chief Whips, that we consider that. I also do want to make an apology upfront that the meeting scheduled for the 23rd of March, I will not be able to attend, because that is the week in which some of us will be attending the IPU. There were other matters arising, honorable members, from the minutes, which are arising from the minutes, which were matters which are reflected in the minutes, which is that of the attendance of members of the executive during sessions, questions for oral reply. Just to report to you that a letter has been written to members of the executive to encourage them to attend oral questions physically, and it has been sent to the leader of government business. But also the matter of written questions, which remain unanswered. Some of them have lapsed already. A report on the responses by ministers regarding unanswered questions will be submitted to the Rules Committee for information and published in the ATC for the information of all members. The matter has been brought as well to the attention of the leader of government business in writing. Now, there's a matter raised by Honorable Kwahube, which is a matter arising of rescheduling of NAPC meetings. Allow me to give an opportunity to her. Honorable Kwahube.
Thank you very much, Speaker. And apologies for raising it earlier than it was meant to be considered. But, you know, having gone through the minutes, I see that the matter was minuted, and I do want to put it on the record that it would be, in my considered view, inappropriate and not wise to in any way tamper with the weekly scheduling of the NAPC, regardless of how long it will last. I think that to then simply say that we must only meet when there are new things or new things to consider on the agenda is improper and takes away from the whole purpose of the meeting. And bearing in mind that this is one of two meetings in which Parliament's businesses discuss publicly, the one being the Joint Standing Committee on Financial Management and being the NAPC. So I would like to place it on record that we do not agree with that. And I think that I would like the meeting to reconsider if that is a widely held view. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kwahube. Just to say, there is another matter which has arisen, which is in the minutes, which is the last one I want to report about here. The scheduling of motion of no confidence in the cabinet. In fact, there are two motions on the table. There is one on the vote of no confidence by the ATM on the President of the Republic. And then there's a second one which has been submitted by the DA, where it expresses no confidence in our cabinet. So I would like to indicate to you that discussions are in advanced stages. I'm consulting on the matter, and next week I will be giving you a date on which these two matters will be attended to. That is my intention. And those are the matters which were contained arising out of the minutes. Are there any other matters? Honorable Kalipi, I see your hand.
Speaker, sorry, man, Speaker, it's just that we wanted to fight with me this morning. I raised a point of clarity here that was also under discussions in the Chiefs Forum in terms of the venues that has been identified by Parliament. So you have not responding to that, or the Chief Whip of the Majority Party have not responded to it. Speaker, I don't know if she's going to respond after this. And the second part, Speaker, I want to support what the Deputy Chief Whip of the DA is saying. Is not in terms of the role. We must continue with the programming committee, even if it takes 2 minutes or 5 minutes, but we must not take any decision that suggests that we must go on holiday in terms of processing what needs to be processed in terms of parliamentary work. Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kalipi. I'm not fighting with members. No, not at all. Honorable Kalipi, the reason why I did not give the Chief Whip an opportunity to respond to that is that when she was giving a report, that part, those proposals did not appear. So I'm giving the officials an opportunity to consider what you have proposed so that in their next report, it should take.
Can I clarify? With respect to, let me clarify. When I said there were 7 options that were tabled by the Parliament team, I said community halls. They were there. It's just that a mention of a name, Mulanga Nyanga, and we have reasons why what we said around those community halls. So they were part of the option. It's just that about the name. So they were there. So Paulson raised that already. It was on the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip. Honorable Kwahube.
Sorry, Speaker, I don't know if you are if you've completed with your point. I wanted to come in on the motion of no confidence issue.
No, we're not discussing the motion of no confidence issue. The two issues are with me, one from the ATM, one from the DA. I am considering that matter. And next week, I will give you a date on which those matters will be discussed and finalized. So it's not a matter.
No, Speaker. I think you're cutting me off before I've had an opportunity to say what I wanted to say. Please, please don't fight with me as well, Speaker. I asked very nicely. I was just
a fighting mood, but I'm keeping in mind that people. These meetings tend to be very long and spend a lot of time on either on my opening remarks or under matters arising, and I don't want that.
No. I'm not getting into the contents of what you've said. I've noted the date scheduling thing. Just to say, Speaker, that if you can then, when you report back on the scheduling next week, also consider the issue around voting mechanisms for these motions, and perhaps just give us clarity and then on whenever they are scheduled, whether or not Parliament will be in a position to be able to do secret ballots and the like. That's all I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kwakube. Honorable Ntlangwini, followed by Honorable Singh.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Now, I want to agree with the Honorable Kalipi and Honorable Deputy Chief Whip of the DA that we should continue the work as is on the programming committee, and we shouldn't not meet weekly as the rules of the as the rules of Parliament are saying. If needs be, we know sometimes, if especially during recess period, yes, there's no it's not necessary for us to meet. So to now want to also take a break while Parliament is open, I think it's just pure laziness. We need to meet as the rules of Parliament is saying weekly. We need to meet as this forum. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ntlangwini. Honorable Singh.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. We as the IFP agree on weekly NAPC meetings. So that matter is on that's on that matter. And secondly, arising from the minutes on the question of ministers and they're not answering questions. I think there was serious concern expressed at our Chief Whip's forum yesterday about the non-availability of ministers to respond to member statements. And I think that's something that we need to look at in the subcommittee on rules and the rules committee, because it's not acceptable that ministers are not available to respond to member statements in the House. You are not there, and I think somebody else was presiding, but I hope they gave you a report on that matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Singh. Matter is noted, honorable members. That matter will be taken up with the leader of government business. As I've indicated already, a letter has been written to the leader of government business to raise the issue of oral questions, which have not been responded to, but we'll also look into this matter of which we had agreed, by the way, last week, but let it continue to be in a hybrid format, that if ministers are not available to come and be present and respond physically in Parliament, that we will still allow them as long as they are available on a virtual platform. So that matter, please let us take note of that. But I will once more write a letter to the leader of government business as a reminder, which I have done already, but I will do it again. Honorable Sheikh Imam.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Since I suggested the issue of not having an NATC meeting, if there's nothing new, I thought I'd just comment on it. It's nothing to do about being lazy, and it's just the point I've been trying to make, that if it is, you don't have one during recess because it's not necessary, then just like that, if there is, while you're in a session, if there is no new business, what was the purpose of it? However, given the fact that members feel that they want to continue, we have no objection to that, and we think we should continue with it. But I just thought I was applying logic that if there's nothing new to discuss, why waste the resources when you can do better things. And that was our argument. But given that, we will accept that you can have the NAPC meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sheikh Imam. In other words, honorable members, the proposal which was made last week is not on the agenda anymore, and I hope none of you will talk to that issue again. Please, it's now, we are agreeing we're going back to the weekly meetings for as long as it is a session of Parliament. I see your, excuse me, your hand, Honorable Kalipi. I don't know if it's an old one or what.
Speaker, the issue of committee to meet physically as venues has been identified, Speaker. What is the status of that? We ask the Speaker, before you respond, Chief Whip of the ANC used to do a very good job when it comes to this meeting. She used to be very proactive and identify matters arising in a point form. When we enter into matters arising, she'll be saying, Speaker, this is number one, number two. Maybe let us go back to that. I don't know why Dais again go to Speaker, Chief Whip of Majority Party.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kalipi. I'm not sure, I don't know if we are in Daisa, but I think the Chief Whip has noted that. And if that was the tradition, I don't know. I just came in and I started chairing meetings. And so if that has been the practice, where the Chief Whip brings matters under matters arising or any other matters, I hope she will continue to do that. Like a Chief Whip. I now recognize the hand of Ms. Kyawa.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker. Good morning, Chief Whips. I just wanted to say, Speaker, we did actually share the information about physical officers. It was raised, submitted a report yesterday. I will again indicate in 90 Plain Street, there are 5 officers for all members to use committees physical for meeting. In Max Building, there are 6. We will again today resend the communication. We will send now, let me say, the communication to individual chief whips of the various parties, but we did submit that report. We excluded Good Hope because it's now an NA plenary. We excluded some of the rooms that are used in Good Hope by the NA table. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kyawa. Honorable Hope, Papo.
Speaker, I think the issue of identification of matters arising on the minutes should be done by the secretary. The chief whip just if he's not in a meeting, the issues are identified from the minutes, and members can then add if there are issues. So that arrangement was actually done by the chief whip because. But at some point, Mr. Kasu and them, they started listing matters arising, which made meetings to be quick. Thanks.
Honorable, I'm not going to allow for a discussion of that matter. There is a matter which has been raised here, and I hope that both Honorable Chief Whip and Mr. Kasu have noted that. I see the hand of the Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I just want to respond on the possibility of committees meeting physically. Having received a list of committee rooms that are ready for physical meetings, then the committees can apply for their physical sitting based on, because those committees at the moment, those committee rooms at the moment, they are not enabled to have a hybrid. It will be full physical. So the chairs of committees are going to look at that with the chair of chairs, which committees can be able to come and meet in Cape Town. But as we have agreed that let's gradually come back to Cape Town, so we do have committee rooms that can accommodate members to meet physically. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Whip. Honorable members, the one other issue which is outstanding, which relates to matters arising, remember that at the last meeting, I did indicate that I will invite Honorable Shangwini and Honorable Mazoni to my office just for a quick discussion. That will be scheduled for next week. We have not been able to do that this week because we want to be physical, and I will then give you a report. There's no need actually for a report to come here. It is just a matter. We'll just inform you that we have met. So it's a matter which will be handled by my office. Thank you, honorable members, for your understanding. Honorable members, having dealt with the minutes and matters arising from the minutes, I now proceed to invite Advocate Tau to present the committee section report.
Good morning, Honorable Madam Speaker, honorable members and colleagues. We start with this slide. On this slide, the only update is that the Committee on Justice and Correctional Services has revised the adoption date for cannabis for private purposes to the 22nd of March. The next slide. On this slide, there are no further updates. The next slide. On this slide, the PC on COCTA has revised the date for stakeholder engagements on Disaster Management Act Amendment Bill for the dates that are indicated on the slide. The next slide. On this slide, there are two updates for criminal law, forensic procedure amendment bill before Peace on Police. The committee has extended the date for submissions to the 11th of March. And then the PC on Environment, Forestry and Fisheries has planned briefings on climate change bill on the 11th of March. The next update, it's on the determination of salaries for CRL by PC on COCTA. The committee postponed the adoption from the 1st of March to a later date. The next slide. On this slide, the PC on Public Service and Administration has finalized the filling of vacancies for public service commissioners. The matter was finalized on the 1st. And then on this slide, on this slide, the appointment of Inspector General by a Joint Committee on Intelligence, the deliberations on the interviews has been postponed from the 25th of February to a further date that has not yet been determined. The next slide. On this slide, the PC on Communication is planning to finalize the petition before it by the 8th of March. That is all. Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Advocate. Honorable members, are there any issues there? That was just a report from the committee section. Shall we proceed to receive a report from the Bills Office by Dr. Mbata?
Good morning, Honorable Speaker. Good morning, honorable members. On our report today, on item 1, we've got the Committee on Home Affairs that reported on the Electoral Laws Second Amendment Bill and is now on the order paper for consideration by the House. And the NEMA laws and the National Forests that appeared last week on the order paper were passed on Tuesday and sent to the President for assent. The total number of bills that are with the Presidency is now 4. And with your permission, Honorable Speaker, I would like to hand over to my colleague, Advocate van der Merwe, who will present a report on Constitutional Court deadlines. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mbata. Continue.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Speaker, and good morning to you and to the members. Members, our office has updated a report on all of the Constitutional Court matters. This report has been circulated to all members. The only matter on which I want to report in respect of progress made is, in fact, on the electoral amendment bill that is before the Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs. The Portfolio Committee is currently conducting public hearings. In fact, I think they did so yesterday and the day before. And they will now start with provincial consultations. They've also resolved that Parliament should approach the Constitutional Court for an extension of the deadline that was set by the Constitutional Court to finalize the legislation. And this application is currently being prepared. Thank you, Speaker. That is all that I want to report on in respect of Constitutional Court judgments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. van der Merwe. Honorable members, are there any issues you want to comment on the two reports? None. There are no hands here. I now proceed to invite Ms. Honorable Lisuma to deal with the draft parliamentary program.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. May you allow me not to put on my video. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and good morning, colleagues and honorable members. Honorable Speaker, if you may allow me not to read the whole program, safe to say that nothing has changed at all, except in week, probably just for completeness for this week. This week is Thursday at noon. We'll have our mini plenaries, and we'll encourage that members do attend this log in for these mini plenaries. Then the week 7, Honorable Speaker, is the same as was presented. Safe to say that as the reports from various committees get 80 seats, it shall be populated for the sitting of the House. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lisuma. Honorable members, are there any matters you would like to comment on in relation to the committee? None. If there are none, honorable members, may I invite Mr. Castro?
There's a hand by Deputy Chief Whip of the Opposition.
Oh, sorry. Honorable Siviwe Kwahube.
Speaker, I just wanted to ask a matter about the National Lotteries Commission Board, which was which fell off of the program from last year, and just want some clarity on when we can expect to see that back on Parliament's programming, because it's now no longer on the order paper. It was below the line. So if I can just get some clarity, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kwahube. I will allow Honorable Lisuma to respond to that.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. If I may just remind honorable members that we said that there are a number of matters, important reports and legislations that have lapsed. They will be resuscitated or revived, and we were working on that, and it will be, then I think we can, this week, the incoming week, the Chief Whip of the Majority Party then will raise the motion in the House for those matters to be revived. But also we, through the Office of the Chairs of Chairs and the front table, we were checking with the chairs also which are any other matters other than those ones which were below the line, so which they would love to be revived as the committee would have deemed so. That matter is still pending under the matters that needs to be revived, Honorable Speaker, in short.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lisuma. Mr. Klasso?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just to add that once the items are revived, then the House will decide whether to put them to the House for decision or to refer any of them back to the committees. So the first step is to revive and make them active. And the next step, in a different sitting, the House must then decide what to do with them. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Klasso. Honorable members, I think we've come to the end of our meeting. Mr. Klasso, are there any announcements?
The only announcement, ma'am, is that this afternoon there are mini plenaries, fully virtual, so it's not hybrid sittings. And the order paper has been sent to the members, as well as the link to the 2 mini plenaries. Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Mini plenaries, honorable members, fully virtual. Thank you very much, Mr. Klasso. Honorable members, we have now come to the end of our meeting. The meeting is adjourned until next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Speaker.